Hello everyone and welcome back for another EV Geek podcast review. He is Sebastian, I am Joel, and today we have the Genesis 2025 Electrified GV70 Prestige all-wheel drive. That's a lot to say. Whew. All right, so Sebastian, first impressions of this car.
Yeah, so before we even talk about that, let's talk about what the Electrified GV70 even is.
So yes.
So this vehicle uses the same 77.4 kilowatt hour battery pack found on the eGMP cars. But this car is not eGMP.
Mm-hmm.
It's
similar, but not.
This car is actually still built on the same chassis as the gas GV70, and right now it's charging with 12-volt battery.
Yes.
Sorry, I just looked down and noticed that
Yes, the little orange light comes, I'll let you know.
Anyway, so this has a lot of the same charging characteristics, range, motor setup, and everything, but it's technically not an eGMP car.
So yeah, still a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery.
Yeah. And so it should have the similar charging performance and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this thing just kind of, when we short drive over here, like very, very short drive over to here.
Yeah.
Leather everywhere on the interior. It was quiet, stuff like that. It's just cool to see kind of, this is currently the flagship electric SUV from Genesis. Now there's technically the Electrified G80, which is a sedan, and it's also a weird, not eGMP, but kind of eGMP car. And it, should be nicer. And they're soon going to have the Electrified GV90.
And then a step down from this would be the
GV60, which the GV60 is a true eGMP vehicle, electric only, blah blah blah. But yeah, this thing's pretty neat. You just kind of, as we've walked around, there's some like neat design choices and styling choices and whatnot, and kind of neat features like how the charge port door is hidden and things like that. But yeah, I'm excited to get out on the road and try it out.
So am I. Yeah. So this is our first time experience with the Genesis, so it was a little learning curve on our end too as well. But we're excited to get this on the road, see what it's like. So we're gonna do a quick tour of the outside of the car. Before we do that, quick shout out to Chris Crane Genesis here in Conway, Arkansas. Roger and his team over there let us borrow this baby for a few hours, so huge shout out to them. So quick tour of the outside, quick tour of the inside. We'll go over the infotainment center, and then we'll do our driving impressions and our final thoughts. See you in a second. Sebastian, why don't you give us a little quick outside tour of the Electrified GV70?
Yeah, so you said this is the Prestige trim, which I believe Prestige is the top of the line.
Okay.
It comes on these 20-inch rims. I think they actually look pretty decent. They're a five-spoke design, but has some like flair to it. And yeah, white brake calipers, which I think look pretty clean actually. Yeah. Well, go ahead. Let's talk about charge port.
So question is, where is the charge port?
It's actually on the front grille, and it's integrated really well. So you've got this like diamond pattern on the front. I think looks interesting. This is solid. On the gas GV70, it's still diamond pattern, but it's not solid like this. And the charge port is actually, you take your little G here, push in, and there you go.
There you go.
You can see it shows you've got a state charge indicator here. You can turn off your scheduled charging here. So if you plug in and
it's got the two covers on it too.
And it's got two flaps, which I don't love because you cannot pull this one out unless this one is out and they're in there good. And then they kind of dangle like that. You know how I feel about these.
I know how you feel about these flaps.
They would probably go away on day one.
Yes, it would.
Or at least the first time I go to charge, and then to close. Push in.
Yep.
Super simple. Now that that's out of the way, let's walk around the outside.
So the range in this car is not great, but it's mid. So range on this is 236 miles.
Yeah, which all-wheel drive.
Yeah, you're gonna take a hit in the range.
You're gonna take a hit on that too. You do the same thing on the normal eGMP cars. It's a fairly large vehicle too. So the eGMP battery that's in it isn't really intended for these vehicles of this size. That's intended for Ioniq 5, EV6, which are kind of in that smaller crossover category. Let's come around back real quick to the trunk. I think the rear of this thing actually looks pretty good.
I like how the lights are kind of built in.
Yeah, and I like the split lighting type style. To open the trunk, it's actually weird. It took me a second, even though there's a sticker right here that tells me. Press here on the bottom of the windshield wiper. Power tailgate, of course. You wouldn't expect anything different.
Nope.
Hummer key's not going to help me much here.
Nope.
By the way. And good sized trunk, for this to be the class of vehicle it is. And you have
a little bit of understorage.
Small bit of underfloor, and you can lift up a second time and you get a little bit more. I bet you do have an included EVSE right there as well. And back here you have, if you'll show the people, a 110 volt or 110 volt outlet, which is cool, as well as a 12 volt right next to it. You also have these latches here to drop your second row seats. So this is very similar to what's in the EV6.
Yep.
You can also see a couple speakers up here. This has the Lexicon audio system.
Ooh, that's different.
It's the first time I've heard that one.
Yep.
Or at least since we've started doing this. And I mean, it sounded fine.
Yep.
We didn't play with it super long. You know, we don't usually get a lot of time. I appreciate you have your trunk closed here, as well as a way to lock the car. Love to see it. Go ahead and pop that closed. This also does the whole smart tailgate thing, where if the vehicle's locked and you come up behind with the key,
It does smart park too.
It also does smart park, so to activate it, you have to, this is the key.
Yep.
You lock it, remote start, it'll light up. It's running. I forget Hyundai vehicles like flash the lights like that when they're doing that. And then to do that, I'm going to step out of the way. Actually, it might not be running. It probably won't let me because I've already remote started it once.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So that's my bad. Anyway,
but it does do smart park, yes.
And it's smart enough too, because I was playing with it. I had Joel in the car. Sorry.
Yes.
Had it rolling forward, and I went and kind of stepped in front of it, and it stopped.
Yeah.
It was smart enough to know that, hey, I can't keep going forward. So yeah, not a whole lot else on the outside to talk about. Let's come around to the passenger side.
All right, I'll meet you. I'm going around the front.
Okay.
Love the Genesis logoing on these.
You can see too, you've got powerful mirrors, and I believe it might have just done approach detection because they just folded out.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Nice. I'm curious. So this is one you kind of just stick your hand in. Big miss.
Yes.
You can't use the prox lock on the rear door, which, I don't know. This is an expensive vehicle to not have that. Let's hop in the back. So first off,
we got to show you. Yep.
Peasant blocker. Nice. Love to see it. You want to hop in? You want me to hop in?
I'm going to show this real quick and I'll hop in. So,
okay.
So as you can see here, you have your rear functions. You have your rear air function. These are heated seats in the back. You also have two USB outlets down there at the bottom. They're not C, but I'm going to give you the camera. I'm 6'1", as you can see. Plenty of room. I notice I sit high. too.
Yeah, you look like you sit high, and you don't have as much knee room as you do in something like an Ioniq 5.
Yeah, so I do sit high, which is fine.
And I wonder if some of that's to do with this being a gas platform.
Yes.
But it's not necessarily optimized for, you know, on Ioniq 5, part of the whole thing is the wheels are as far back as they can be and as far forward as they can be.
Yep.
And here, you know, they're in a normal spot, and so I wonder if that's part of why.
So it does feel like you can tell by sitting back here you were raised up a little bit.
It's like you still have room.
I still have headroom. I still have.
But yeah, you look a little
3 or 4 inches of headroom. So yeah, but
you do look a little tight in the knees.
I do. I feel higher. So yes, but these seats do recline
Tilt
a little. So that's a lot better there.
Okay.
So yeah.
It did push your knees forward though.
A little.
But yeah, you do get your peasant blockers.
But you get a little indentation here to help you with your knees too. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
And we didn't even talk about it yet. We'll talk about it more on the inside. You do have a fully functioning sunroof. It does open and close and all that, which is nice.
Yep.
All right, you want to hop back out?
I'm gonna hop back out.
And might as well just go ahead and wrap up here.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up here and we'll hop on the inside, do a quick tour of the inside, look at the infotainment, then hop on the road. We are now inside the Electrified GV70, so quick interior tour here, Sebastian.
Yeah, so just kind of right off the bat, it feels pretty nice in here.
It does.
It feels pretty good. You've got leather everywhere. You got leather here on the dash, on the upper dash, steering wheel, obviously, these seats, center console, the top of the center console. This isn't actual leather, but it feels like it. You've got on this cover, like everything in here feels pretty nice.
There's not one bit of cloth in here that I can find.
Except for the floors.
Except for the floors.
Speaking of, let's just kind of look at the center tunnel. You have your shifter here. This is a radio control dial. We'll talk a second. You have griped about this already.
Yes.
Because you go to put it in gear and you hit this.
Yes, these look very similar, so yes. But this comes in very handy because the screen is very far away.
The screen is very far away. You have your volume control, tuners, drive mode switch, parking cameras, parking and camera mode button there. You also have this little cubby here that you can press open. Flips forward, you have your USB ports, both type A, weirdly. But you also have a wireless phone charger right there. And it does work. You used it on
the way over.
You have your climate controls here, which I think are neat. You have, this is an actual screen. This, I kind of like this implementation, maybe the best out of all these Hyundai, Kia, Genesis cars we've done so far. Where you have your temperatures, you know, your dials here, makes sense.
It's got dual zone, yep.
Dual zone climate, of course. You have your auto, whatever, but your like seat heat, for example, is, boom, now I'm on full ventilated. It's an actual there on the screen. You can turn your steering wheel heat on from here. All that makes sense. Put it on auto.
Wow, that's an impressive.
That is some aggressive, cooled seat.
Yes.
Anyway,
you need that here in the South.
and then you have hard buttons for your radio menu, which is nice. Going kind of around here too, like you mentioned, the screen is really far away. It is a touch screen.
Yep.
And so when you come on, this is your key up setting. I'm probably going to mainly try to use this dial to control because it is,
yes.
if you just look at my body right now, if you show me, you have to come pretty far forward to touch the screen.
Yep. But they do give you a
dial.
Yes.
So this is your home screen. So you can kind of click over and now you're here. So this is very similar to the other Hyundai Kia vehicles we've driven. So you can come in here, for example, your EV menu. I'm going to select. And it shows you we're at 27% state of charge, 59 miles. It's actually showing the same range with and without climate control right now, which is nice. I mean, you can kind of click through here, cycle through. You got your vehicle to load settings, which is nice. Same as what we've seen on other eGMP cars, even though this is not an eGMP car. You come in here to settings. You can set your max charge percent, AC charge current. Do you want it to precondition on route? This does not do what the new vehicles with CC&C do, where you have actual on-demand preconditioning, which I feel like it needs. You have your utility mode and how much regen you want. So I'm actually go ahead and set that to
like max regen.
High regen. Come up here to the top. Maybe. Don't know how to do this. There we go. Back. Oh, I did it again. Not a whole lot else to show on the EV menu. We'll go back. You have your map. This is, I'm not even going to really bother getting too much in it. This is the same navigation found in the other EV6 and Ioniq 5 vehicles. This isn't the CC&C. This is the before CC&C. It is not amazing. Route planning is not great. And we can't show it either because we're not activated on this vehicle.
Yes.
They don't call it Blue Link for Genesis. I think it's like just Genesis Connected is what they call it. But we're not activated, so it won't do it anyway. But you can only precondition if you route plan, but then the route planning's not awesome, which is what it is. So I'm going to go back home. Come through here. You've got media. You've got CarPlay, Android Auto. It's in your phone protection. You can come here to settings, and this is like all the other Hyundai Kia stuff where you have a ton of options.
Yes.
So you've got tons of driver's assistance features. This does HDA2. You have options for, it's done showing me the animation. There we go. You've got options for your drive modes and how you want the brakes to feel. How, if you want fake sounds, so this is your heads-up display settings, which it does have. It actually looks pretty decent.
Yeah, it's a nice heads-up display.
You can change the cluster themes, which this is actually interesting. So you can do illumination. So actually, go see if I can crank that up a little bit, make it a little easier to. Cool. You can set your cluster themes, which right now are linked to drive mode. So this vehicle is doing a weird thing, which we won't be able to really show on camera. The cluster looks like it's 3D.
It does.
And so you can actually go in here and turn that off, which I'm going to do because I actually kind of don't like the way it looks in 3D, and it makes the screen brighter too, which is nice. When do you want to reset? What do you want to show up on the screen? I love how Hyundai Kia stuff, like when you do your wipers, it shows up and tells you what mode you just put them in. And this one too does the blind spot cameras where you turn your turn signal and you get a camera, which is super nice. I love that. You can come in here, you have all your climate settings, which is, there's so many weird, cool things. We just got ice, look at that. There's so many cool, weird settings that Hyundai does. Like you can have it turn off recirc if you drive into a tunnel. And then turn back on, or turn off recirc if you do the wiper fluid, which I think is funny. If you come in here, you've got your navigation stuff. This is your EV settings again, so you have the same things you saw previously. You have user profiles on here. You do get, and I believe it's in here somewhere. I saw it earlier. Hold on. Yeah, you can do digital keys, which is great. You can do both phone and NFC car. Love to see it.
And we did a cool little thing where it adjusted my posture like it should be.
Yeah, so let's get into that. Let's go talk about that for a second.
It was a pretty, because the way I originally had the seat set up on the drive over here was, it said it was horrible, and it adjusted it for me.
You can go into your seat. One thing I'm not finding is massaging seats, which I'm a little surprised by. But you can come in here, so you can go in here and you can change the seat positions, and so you can do that. You can also do that with controls on the side of the seat as expected. But what I'm actually going to do is you come in here to, somehow did I change it on passenger? There we go.
Yeah.
So you have smart support. So this will, depending on drive mode, it will adjust your bolstering. So like if you put it in sport mode, it hugs you, which is kind of cool.
Yes, it
You have this we call ergo motion, so as you're driving, it'll kind of periodically move the seat to help keep you from getting too tired or like getting like back pain or anything like that, which is cool. You also have what they call smart posture care.
Let's see what it says.
So you can go in here and ask you to enter the driver's information.
Yep.
So I am, gosh, it's so far away, 6 foot tall. I wear a 36 inseam, and you don't have to show the weight. Okay, and then you hit posture analysis. You can go back. It's going to wait for a second. It actually says I'm pretty good.
Look at you. Mine was in the red when we got in.
But you can hit adjust, and you can see now it is moving my seat.
We didn't see it, but we heard it, yes.
So it'll move the seat. Well, here, I can just do.
May not let you do because
Okay,
you're in this
anyway,
setting. Yeah.
it moves the seat and then basically should be at a position that feels good.
Yep.
And honestly,
It does feel good.
feels pretty good, not bad.
It's very ergodynamic.
And so yeah, it's just super cool to see that. And you have, of course, you have easy entry, and you can actually do it for the front passenger seat, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
You can also have it automatically move the steering wheel out of the way. Do you want to do the driver's seat, normal distance, extended distance? Interesting, because it was going pretty far back on
Yeah, it
normal.
was.
Seat switch alerts. So when you touch it, it'll come up and tell you what you're adjusting. So you can see, like right now, I'm on the end of it, so now I'm extending my leg rest, or I'm touching the forward back button, and it's just like I'm just like touching, and that's when it pops up, which is pretty cool. And it'll tell you too, hey, I'm currently moving the seat for ergonomics. But yeah, so seat menu is actually pretty neat. There's some good features in there. It makes it easy to get the seat exactly where it needs to be, and it does it pretty automatic too. Not a whole lot else to talk about here. If we look at the steering wheel real quick.
Pass it over.
This is like a lot of the other Hyundai Kia cars we've driven, where you have your radio on the left, your HDA controls on the right, the same kind of series of buttons. You can change your cluster with this wheel and this here, and like the other EGMP stuff. So you have, or just other Hyundais in general, not even electric Hyundais or Kias and Genesis vehicles. You have your speedometer on the left and a power meter on the right. You can click this to cycle through. Now you have your driver's assist view, you have your compass, you have your power distribution, and you can page through this as well to show like tire pressure, drive, accumulated drive info for this trip, etc. What was that last one it said? I actually hadn't seen that before. Select controls. Oh, you can have it 3D cluster, heads-up display, driver's assistant settings. Look at that.
You can assign it. Cool. Kind of
That's
like
neat.
you can do with the star button.
Yeah.
Yeah, the star button down here.
Yeah, which I do love. We haven't even talked about. You get these star buttons here and here, and you can go in and actually set them to do certain things. So like if I hit the one on the steering wheel, you can have it come up to set up privacy mode or go to the EV menu immediately, which I really like on the cars CC&C to set it to EV mode, because then you can hit the star and you just have a one tap kind of to get to preconditioning, which is really nice. We'll go back home here. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot else to kind of show off on this screen. You know, it's not super customizable, which is something, some people love it, some people hate it. I'm indifferent on it. I probably would leave it on the motor one, because I think it's cool, or on my driver's assist view. You do have your paddles for regen. This does the Hyundai thing where it resets itself after every drive. It does not stay in iPedal.
Level 3 every time you get out.
Which iPedal is your actual one pedal driving. Over here on the left, you don't have a whole lot of options. You got your cluster brightness, traction control. It does have hill descent control, which I think is interesting. Trunk button, parking brake. Over here on the door, all of this is very normal. You do have like electronic child locks, which is nice. You can individually, whatever. You can also fold your mirrors in. So there's something
on the middle display above there. Is that for the HDA?
I wonder. That's a good question.
It's right there. Yeah. So
that's a good question.
So
he's pointing out the
right here. So
yeah, I don't know if that's.
We'll find out whenever we try it on the road here in a little bit.
So yeah, you can also fold these in. Nice. And you'll notice these are auto dimming side mirrors, which is a really nice feature to have. You also get, which it's currently not showing me anything. You do have a heads up display.
It looks like they defrost too.
They do as well. Also defrost. Yeah. So you also get a heads-up display, and it's right up here. There's no real good way for me to show it on a camera, but it's like the other Hyundai Kia heads-up.
We have up here, so
here you have sunglasses holder. Nice. Your ambient lights. What's this button do? Oh, that's your Genesis connection. Never mind. I'm not going to hit it. You also have your sunroof, so you can see now the shade is open. That's a really deep tinted sunroof.
Yes, it is. It doesn't feel like, and the sun's been hitting it for a while. That does not feel hot at all.
That's interesting.
That's nice.
And then, can you pop that open with the roof rails on?
You should be able to, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And it does actually open.
Yep.
Nice. It doesn't open super far, but it does open. That's really deeply tinted. I'm really surprised. Huh.
There you go.
Yeah. No digital rearview mirror, which is kind of a miss in my opinion. I really like having them in vehicles. You do get your garage door openers, however, which is nice. And really not a whole lot else to show off. Let's see. Do you get... Yeah, you got mirrors. You got lights. They automatically come on. Cool. Not anything else I really want to talk about in here. Anything you want to talk about?
No, let's get set up and let's drive this thing.
All right. Sounds good.
We're going to get the camera set up. See you in a bit. We're going to drive this thing. All right. We stopped for a quick pit stop. We had to get some drinks. We were parched. All right, Sebastian, give us your initial driving thoughts on this electrified GV70.
Yeah, so we just did a decent little stretch of city driving in it. Did fine.
Yep.
Not really anything remarkable about it, which is fine. It's not designed to be a super remarkable car or anything like that. It drove just fine. The suspension was fine. Has plenty of get up and go to get out of its own way. Not a big deal. If we did briefly play with, you got this button here at the bottom of the steering wheel for boost, which is pretty fun.
That was fun.
It's pretty good, actually.
Yep.
I was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, now that we're out here on the highway, just kind of immediately, it's a pretty windy day out.
Yeah, it is.
Road noise is not bad at all.
No.
I can pretty much only hear the wind hitting us.
You hear the wind hitting the side mirrors a little, yes.
I don't hear, tires.
Nope.
There's no tire noise. There's really only just the wind. And while we're out on the highway, we might as well go ahead. Let's try out HDA.
Yep.
If we hit that button there, we're doing HDA. Nav, set to 65. Which, I don't know why I did 65. That's not the speed limit.
It should be if it falls in line, it should be a torque wheel.
It should be.
Yep. Because that was what the Ioniq and the EV6 was.
Find out briefly.
Yep.
See if it tries to take this exit. It did not.
It did slow down a little.
It did slow down because they were slowing down.
Yep.
That said, HDA2 does use navigation for assistance, so that's probably why it didn't try to take that exit. I know the older Hyundai HDA systems would 100% try to veer and go that way. It is going a surprisingly long amount of time without asking me to put my hands on the wheel.
We noticed that in the Ioniq 5N that we drove too. It went a long time before it asked for me to.
But not the regular Ioniq 5, I don't remember.
There it is.
This guy is making me nervous. Keep hands on wheel. Yep. It is a torque wheel. Yep. Okay. All right. There we go.
So how's that heads-up display look? Good?
It's not on.
It's not?
I don't know why it's not on. It was on, and I must have done something to turn it off.
Play with the buttons.
Let's see if I can hit buttons in here.
Oh, yep. We turned it off.
Hey! Right now it says check blind spots before changing lanes. Oh, okay, there we go.
There you go.
So that actually gives a lot of information. That's not bad. So right now we're doing 57 because there's a truck in front of us that's not driving very fast. It's showing me cars coming up in a blind spot with a little red icon. It's showing me boxes around me.
Oh, cool.
On the thing. It's showing me my speed, what cues is set to, and all that, which is actually pretty dang nice. As soon as this car gets around us, we're going to have it do an auto lane change. I'm signaling. It should keep hands on steering wheel.
Yeah.
It's accelerating. And
just like the other key Hyundai cars, your hands have to your hands have to be in the steering wheel for it to make a lane change.
Yeah, which I mean, it's not a hands-free system,
which
so
is
that's
smart.
Expected.
Yes.
But yeah, I actually like the amount of information that heads up is giving me. I don't remember the EV6 giving me this much info.
The GT or GT line, both of them had them, didn't they?
I don't think the GT did. I think the GT line did.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
Yeah,
maybe it was something in the settings that just showed us basically speed and maybe a turn or two for navigation too as well.
Yeah, it's giving me my driver's assistance. Like, it's not a bad little view.
Yep.
So it's only been 4 miles since I've reset this.
Yep.
Currently at 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour.
It is cold out. What is the temperature? It says 50. I don't think it's 50. I don't think it's 50 out. So.
But yeah, it's not bad at all.
I like this little energy use thing you have up here too. So.
Yeah, and you can actually swipe through that and show different things depending on what screen you're on, which is kind of nice. Yeah,
I do like this map feature better than the Kias.
Yeah, it looks a little nicer.
It looks a little bit nicer. The functionality is the same, but the display looks nicer.
Yeah.
A little more high tech.
I'll agree with that.
Yes.
HDA is doing a good job keeping us in our lane, centered in the lane. Real quick, let's just, for funsies, bump it down into sport. It is hugging my bolsters, so it just tightened up the seat on me. I'm going to put my foot on the gas, take it off of HDA. There we go. We're going to hit boost. Boost unavailable due to low battery. Oh man!
How low are we?
I don't know. honestly.
Charges at 20%.
Where do you see that?
See how the charge meter?
Ah, I see.
See, yep.
Yeah. Oh well.
That looks similar to like the.
Well, hey, even without boost. Actually, that was a lot limited. It felt like compared to earlier.
I wonder if it's because of the low state of charge.
Interesting. Well, that stinks. I was excited to do that.
Yep.
Just real quick, I'll put it back on HDA.
Yep.
And take it out of sport mode. My day is ruined.
Should have charged it longer.
Should have charged it longer.
Yes.
We've been in it longer, and I think we meant to.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, just kind of coming along though. Again, the only thing that would make this not an awesome road tripper is that the range is pretty short.
Yes.
It just speed limit changed.
Okay, good.
Automatically. Nice.
Yeah, so range was, I believe, 236.
Yeah. Which I don't know how these tend to do on like EPA compared to whatever, if they actually get 236 or if it's less than 236 or more than 236. That said, it does charge well, which is the saving grace of yes, you can't go as far on a charge, but you're not going to stop for very long when you do stop, as long as you're at a station that can give you 240 kilowatts.
Yep.
Which on that case, you know, maybe it does become a decent, or at least acceptable road tripper, because it's comfortable.
Oh, it's very comfortable.
The seats are good, especially, you know, I did the whole auto posture thing, so it's actually got me in a good position. I
have plenty of room down here to stretch
my legs. You've got plenty of leg room. It handles itself well. It's, you know, it rides really well. It rides like a nice car should.
Yep.
That is the one thing I don't know that we've touched yet in this price. What does it sticker for? The sticker is
$76,000. So
$76,000 is a lot of money.
Yep.
That said,
we don't know dealers, incentives, things like that. So yeah, we don't know all that.
That said, too, if you're looking at luxury SUVs, though, BMWs are more expensive. Mercedes is more expensive. Acura is more expensive. Actually, Acura's close.
Acura's close. The ZDX is close.
The Lyriq is close.
Lyriq is close.
And I kind of think I like this more than I like the Lyriq.
Oh, okay.
Which you weren't expecting that, were you?
I wasn't expecting that product coming out of your mouth.
Because you know I liked the Lyriq a lot. For me, the issue I didn't have any real issues with the Lyriq.
Well, the charging curve's gonna be better on here than the Lyriq.
The charging curve's gonna be way better on here than the Lyriq. My issue with the Lyriq is I don't feel like it's differentiated enough from the Blazer.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I would have a hard time paying for the Lyriq just for it to be a slightly nicer Blazer.
Yep.
It does have a bigger battery, which I guess is a benefit. It has more range than this. But this, like you said, is going to charge better. The Lyriq and the other old has, you know, it's the 12 module, I believe, pack. So it's 190 kilowatt peak rate. But the Ultium stuff, the curve isn't awesome.
Nope.
Especially once you get out of like the trucks.
Yep.
It's going to probably hold 190 kilowatts to like 30%. And if it behaves like the Blazer, it's just going to fall off a cliff after that.
So, totally not video related. You missed the exit, so we're going to be on this road for a while.
No. Is there not one more after this?
No, this is the Mayflower exit.
Whoops. It's okay. We're not going 43 miles. So.
So good. Yeah.
We're good, but whoops.
Yep.
You got me talking. You should have given me directions.
I should have told you to get off the exit back there. That was my fault.
It's okay. It's not actually your fault. I'm driving. I should be doing better.
We're going to Morgan Mom also.
We're in eco mode, so we're good. I hope.
Yes.
We might have to call. And be like,
we have to call Roger and tell him we need some juice. So yeah, we'll be fine. We got 20%.
Bring that flatbed.
Yes.
But yeah, ultimately, I actually like this thing quite a bit. I like it more than I thought I was going to coming in. It just auto changed speed limit to match, although it thinks the speed limit's 65, and that sign right there says 75. So I don't know if it's using nav data or if it's trying to read the sign. We'll see if it changes back here in a second. But I do appreciate that it's automatically changing.
Yep.
As long as it's changing to something that's right.
Yes.
Which, 75.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. It must have seen a sign. That's my only guess. But yeah, I mean, I'm liking this more than I thought I would. For me, the struggle was, I really like the Ioniq 5.
Yeah.
The Ioniq 5 is a heck of a lot cheaper than this.
Yes.
And for me, kind of going into this, I wasn't sure how much I was going to like this more.
But the Ioniq 5 is not this luxurious.
Right. Yes. But I wasn't sure how much more I was going to like this over the Ioniq 5, if that makes sense, for me personally. that's now that I'm in it, I'm like, okay, no, this is like an actual decent step up from the Ioniq 5, you know, as far as like interior quality and materials and everything. Because again, you and I have never been in a Genesis.
Nope, it's our first time driving one.
And so I really didn't know what to expect from Hyundai's luxury brand. And so yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised.
So am I. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here because we have another probably 8 to 10 miles before we get off our exit.
Sorry.
So we will see you back at Chris Crane Genesis, where we will do our final thoughts and wrap up this video. See you in a bit. All right, we have arrived back at Genesis of Conway here. Chris Crane Genesis of Conway. With how much charge left? We
were at, I think, 8%?
Yeah, we took it down pretty low. That was fun.
Yeah, 8%.
8%, 16 miles, so that was pretty fun.
Yeah, we were good.
So yeah, final thoughts, Sebastian.
Yeah, so I actually ended up really liking this thing, how it drove. It's comfortable. It drove, you know, for it to not be an EGMP car, it drove like an EGMP car, which isn't a bad thing. It has plenty of get up and go. You know, I was a little bummed that we only got to drive a boost at one time because it was kind of fun.
We were low end charge and wouldn't let us use it, yes.
It was kind of fun to do. But yeah, I mean, this honestly, and we were kind of talking about it, you know, I said while we were driving, was the only reason I think this wouldn't be an awesome road tripper is range. But then you sit there and think about it, well, it's like, well, if it does, say if it's 236 EPA, say it does 200 miles.
Yep.
Or 190. If you can do 75 miles an hour, that's 75, 150. It's 2.5 hours of driving before you need to stop.
My bladder doesn't last long.
My bladder doesn't last that long either, especially because I have, you know, we have kids or
and
whatever.
We like to drink drinks too while we're out.
We like to drink. We like to have drinks.
Yes.
Like for me, that's probably fine. And when you stop, it's going to charge like an EGMP car, so it's going to be like an 18-minute stop.
Yeah, we averaged 2.6
miles kilowatt hour, which is about right. That's not terrible.
Yep, and it is 40 some degrees outside.
And it's a bigger vehicle, you know, it makes sense. So yeah, I came away from this thing actually a lot more. I wasn't expecting to not like it. I was expecting to kind of have a struggle to find why you would pick this over something like an Ioniq 5.
Yep.
But now I understand. I get it.
It's luxury.
It's a nicer vehicle.
It rides a lot nicer than my wife's Kia EV6. Just a nicer ride, quieter ride. Comfortable ride. I like the leather. There's leather everywhere. I like the ambient lighting. We didn't talk about that, but this car does have ambient lighting. You just can't see it in the light. It's a really nice car. I think getting used to kind of like the turn knob in the middle for the display, that would take some getting used to, but I'm sure once you got used to it, it would be fine. So
yeah, I mean, I liked it. We're good.
Good. Once again, huge shout out to Chris Crane, Genesis of Conway here, Roderick and his team here. They've been great. We got it plugged in here. If you're ever coming through here, Conway, they do have free charging at their charge port chargers here, so you can plug in for free. We're plugged in now. Give them some charge before we hand them back the keys, and we will see you again on another EV Geek podcast review. So long, everyone.